Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Okay, what we got here is the Mushroom Hunter's Knife 2 by Rough Ryder. And this is kind of interesting because while they're calling it the Mushroom Hunter's Knife 2, this is actually the third mushroom knife made by Rough Ryder. And what is also kind of odd is I have all three of the knives, yet as far as I can tell, I do not have a single YouTube video where I actually reviewed any of the knives. So this is going to be the very first Mushroom Hunter's knife that of Rough Ryder that I have reviewed. Matter of fact, there's only one other Mushroom Hunter knife review that I have, and that is for the Mercury Myco. So I will be rectifying that issue because I think each knife deserves to have its own review. Now you will be seeing the other Mushroom Hunter knives by Rough Ryder in this video, partly for comparison, but I will also later review them, even though I don't think any of them are available at the moment, but you might still want to find them. Okay, enough yapping. Let's take a look at the Mushroom Hunter's Knife 2. And this one's pretty cool. I like the box. I believe the box was designed by Brian Wilhoit, and this knife is also a Brian Wilhoit idea. And this one's pretty cool. And it is unlike many of the other mushroom knives that I have seen out there. For one thing, this has an aluminum handle. Now, for those not familiar with a mushroom knife, this has pretty much everything that you see on most mushroom knives. What you have on the end here is a little brush, and then this here is a snap hook. This particular type of snap hook is known as a Witchert snap hook, and it was designed by the folks who make the nautical knives for Witchert, a company in France. And it's a pretty cool one. This is the first of the Mushroom Hunter's knives from Rough Ryder that actually have the snap hook on there. All of them have had the hole here so that you can hook a snap hook on it, but none of the other ones had them. And typically this is something you do see on Mushroom Hunter knives. Not all of them, but most of them. And then they're usually made out of wood or plastic, but this one has some really nice aluminum handles. And if you notice here on the handle, you have a centimeter scale for 4 centimeters. And this is very common on Mushroom Hunter knives. And the purpose of it is so that you can measure the mushroom, because depending on what type of mushroom you're harvesting and where you're located, certain mushrooms have to be a certain size before you can actually take them. So that's what's going on with that. And then you also have a really cool little etch here of 2 little mushrooms, which is pretty cool. And like I said, I believe this is all by Brian Wilhoit. Now, something that is a little different is this one has a pocket clip. Now, I'm not a big fan of pocket clips, but they did do a really good job with this one. And it does not reverse, which is fine. You don't really need it to reverse. The knife is also a slip joint, so the blade is in there nice and strong, so it's not going to come out in your pocket anyway. It is held on by 2 little torque screws. You get to those screws through here, so you can remove the clip if you need to, and you notice that it is recessed into a little slot there in the handle, so it is really nicely done. And it gives you a second way of hooking the knife to your gear. One way is with the snap hook, which is the traditional way that a Mushroom Hunter's knife is held on to the person. They can snap this through a buttonhole, and they can snap it on a little link on their belt or on their little foraging bags. That's why the little snap is there. But this also allows you to just snap it onto a pocket or clip it to a pocket. You could also clip it through a belt. You could also clip it to your bag. You could also clip it through a buttonhole. So all varieties of ways of clipping it on there. And now what you want to see is the blade, and this is a really cool looking Hawkbill blade that they have on there. And that is very common with mushroom hunters knives. They will have a Hawkbill blade, but this one is really cool. The one thing I would say is the thumb hole here. If you notice, when I opened it, I did not use the thumb hole, and I don't think you could actually physically open this knife with the thumb hole, so it doesn't really need to be there. However, I'm thinking that this blade might show up on a couple of the Rough Ryder knives in the near future. I would like to see it show up on a couple like different Hawkbills where that thumb hole would be useful. The one thing you can do with this thumb hole, I believe, is, though it probably would be a second thought, is you could actually use it to open a shackle on like a sailboat or something. For instance, here's a little anchor shackle, and it would work that you could actually slip that in there and break a shackle. So that's pretty cool. I don't think it was intended for that, but it will work for that. You could tighten shackles and loosen shackles with that. And the thing is anyone who's familiar with Hawkbill blades know that they're really terrific rope knives. So this could actually easily be converted into a rope knife if you wanted to use it as such. Few things you would probably do though for doing that. But the handle feels pretty good in the hand. Those who have used mushroom knives realize that this is going to be in the way, and it typically is. You know, on almost any mushroom knife, this is going to be in the way. Something that mushroom hunters deal with, I guess. But you can't actually get up there like that. It's not really that much of an annoyance, and this is a really big blade for cutting the stem of the mushroom. Or also, if you're one of those people who are going to dig the entire thing up. Most people, and this is one of those things where depending on where you're harvesting mushrooms, some places make it illegal for you to dig the entire mushroom out, and so you have to cut the stalk. And the reason being is because of the network. If you dig up the mushroom, you take off all the roots and everything, and it can cause issues with the environment, with the ecology of the area. So that's why they like some places like the roots to stay in place. Other places want you to take the entire mushroom. So it's kind of a back and forth thing. I don't think the science is completely finished on with it. Now, you notice there's a brush back here. For those who are unfamiliar, this brush is so you can knock dirt and stuff off of the mushroom before you throw it in the bag, because when you're harvesting mushrooms, you never use water on them, because they will absorb the water and it will just ruin the mushrooms. So you try to keep them as dry as possible, so you would use the brush to knock off any dirt or any kind of moisture or anything like that off of the mushroom before you put it in the bag. So that's pretty cool too. And that is very common with mushroom knives. With that said, I'm going to set this one here for a second and show you the other two knives, which I will probably show you again in the near future. But seeing how you might not have seen the earlier Rough Ryder mushroom knives, this is as good a time as any to show the other ones. So this is the original mushroom hunter knife by Rough Ryder. Does it give the number on here? I bet it does. The RR2540. It's been around for quite a while. Notice it also has that Hawkbill blade, but it is a much smaller Hawkbill blade than what you have on the Mushroom Hunter 2. And this is one of the two types of Hawkbill blades that are commonly found on a mushroom hunter's knife. And this is also very common of the way the handle will be shaped on a mushroom hunter's knife. except typically they'll be completely wood. So the steel bolster up here, I believe it is a steel bolster. Yeah, the steel bolster up here is a little bit uncommon for mushroom hunters' knives. But if you notice, it does have the 4 centimeters rule on the side there, similar to what you have here. Notice they're both 4 centimeters. And that's mainly because these things are more popular in Europe than they are in the United States. This has a boar's hair brush on the back. If you notice, there's a wood insert that holds that boar's hair brush in place. And the knife itself, you could, in theory, just cut it off right there because that portion of it is just the wood extension to hold the boar's hair brush in place. And boar's hair brushes are the most common, or is the traditional type of brush that are used on mushroom hunter knives. This one is some type of blonde wood. I do not know what it is. This is the way it came. It just had the hole so that you could attach a snap hook on it, but it did not come with the snap hook. This one, this may be boar's hair, or this might be an artificial material, but it is as stiff as the boar's hair. So, matter of fact, a little stiffer, which some people will either like or dislike, but it will definitely work for cleaning up debris off of a mushroom or off of your vegetables if you're using this in a garden or something like that. Now, I actually bought 2 of these. This is actually the second one I bought. This is the first one I bought. This one got carried a little bit more. And I grabbed a key ring and I added my own hook. And this is a very common type of snap hook that you will find on these. This is known as a swivel trigger hook. This is the trigger. You open it and it closes. But that's a very typical kind of a hook that you'll find on a mushroom knife. And got quite a few other mushroom knives that have hooks like this, and they came that way. So these were the very first of the mushroom knives by Rough Ryder, the RR2540. Now they also came out with a second one. Like I said, this is the third one. The what number is this anyway? The 2540 is the second, but it's actually the third one they made. It's Mushroom Hunter Knife 2, but it's the third Mushroom Hunter's knife by Rough Ryder. The second one was called the Deluxe Mushroom Hunter Knife, and let me get that one open. Okay, we'll get that box over there. Like I said, the Deluxe, notice it is much longer and now has 2 tools in here instead of just the blade. And it has a different style of hook on there. Again, this is a snap hook that I added myself. This one is known as a spring snap hook. That's the style that is on this one. So this one has an aftermarket spring hook. This is a swivel trigger hook, and the one that came with the 3 is a Witchard hook, a Witchard snap hook. Okay, but this is the Deluxe, and I'll do a video on this in the future too. Again, with the 4 centimeter rule. It is white, but if you rub your finger over it, you'll feel that it is indented a little bit into the wood. You can also see that it is rubbing off, which is a common problem I've seen on a lot of mushroom knives. These tend to rub off. This has the other style mushroom hunter's blade that you see, and it's also a style of Hawkbill blade, but it's like a little scythe or something. And you notice it has jimping up here. This is very common in mushroom hunter knives, and I do not know why this one and this one do not have it. It is one of the main traits that distinguishes the mushroom hunter's knife is the jimping on the back of the blade. Now the jimping is not there so that you can get a good purchase with your thumb. As you can see, that blade moves pretty well. What it is so that you can actually hold the blade open and use it to scrape dirt off of mushrooms as well. So the the jimping or the rough edge on the back of the blade is actually for cleaning mushrooms. It's not for purchase of the thumb. This one also has a secondary blade on it, and this is a metal rule in both centimeters and inches. So you have up to 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches on the metal rule here. And I have seen other ones with metal rules. And the other thing you'll see is, notice the handle is much longer, and that's because the brush rotates. This is something you see in some of the higher end mushroom knives out of Europe too, a rotating brush, and that protects the bristles on the brush when it's just hanging out loose, because people also carry these in a pouch or in a pocket, and if you throw them in a pocket, then this brush can definitely get screwed up if it's in the bottom of the pocket and gets pushed over and stuff like that. Also, a very good boar's hair brush on the end here, but the cool thing is this one swivels in so it's out of the way and protected. So those are the other two Mushroom Hunter knives that came before the Mushroom Hunter's Knife 2 by Rough Ryder. But this one, I just really like this one. It's really cool. I like the way the handle feels. I like the color of the handle. I'm hoping that they go beyond green with this handle too. I'm hoping to see like a purple Mushroom Hunter's Knife or other colors. This would be pretty cool in an orange. This anodized aluminum just looks really fantastic, and I'd like to see it in a lot of different colors. What's more, what I really like about this also is the size of this blade, because this blade means that this knife can be used for more than just your typical mushroom hunting or anything, because this is a pretty functional Hawkbill blade, but it's a low profile Hawkbill blade that could be used for a lot of other things around the house. This could easily be used for a carpet knife. This could also be used for cutting tile, and obviously it could be used for the garden, and it could be used for a rope knife. And one of the things that I'm thinking is, if you are one of those people who are looking for a really cool Hawkbill blade, this might be the knife for you, in spite of the little brush on the back, which you could still use for other purposes, and despite this being in your way, because this is something that could be easily modified with a simple Dremel tool and a nice sharp knife. You could easily cut the bristles off the back if you wanted to, and you could easily take a Dremel tool, remove the hook, and then just grind down that keyhole there and have a nice smooth back. Matter of fact, I definitely plan on ordering 1 or 2 more of these and convert one into your basic Hawkbill blade, or Hawkbill knife, because I think it'll work really good that way. As for the overall build quality of the knife, it is really solid. You can see here that it is held in place with torque screws. I find the pivot a little stiff. Ooh, almost cut myself. That would not be good. But not bad. And you've got a really good purchase on the blade. It's easy to pinch this blade and open it. I do not find the thumb hole at all useful, at least on this knife. I could see it useful in other areas, especially if they were to turn this into like a more modern knife with a liner lock, and say just being held down with a little detent instead of a very strong back spring. I would say the pull on this one is probably in the 7 or 8 range, but it holds really well that way too. So that's good. I think the finger groove is nice. Blade is tight. Obviously, you could loosen it if you wanted to, and then you would definitely have some blade wobble, I think. Alignment, well, you can see there. If you want it right down the middle, you can have it down the middle, but there is a little wobble there, so you can push it to either side. Some people are going to have that as a major problem. I don't see it as a major problem. You can just let it slap closed, you know, just drop it, because you have a lot of room between the blade and the back spring. You've got a very good kick here, right there. And that hits down there, and it prevents the blade from hitting the back spring. And as you know, it also has that pocket clip. The pocket clip, I'm left-handed. It doesn't bother me at all. You know, left-handed, I can definitely feel it, but it's not going to bother me. Right-handed, it kind of disappears in the hand. Yeah, it's not going to bother you, I don't think. It does have that bump going up a little bit there, so you will have a hot spot if you're squeezing really tight. But I think for those who are interested in a new Hawkbill blade and are thinking of removing this and removing the brush, I think you'll be pretty pleased with it. And it is a very slim line for this knife. So there's my thoughts on it. I think it's pretty cool. I really like the way it looks, and I'm happy to have it as part of my mushroom knife collection. And funny thing is like I said, not only do I have the Rough Ryder mushroom knives, I've got a couple by Mercury, I've got some by Joker, I've got some by Old Bear, I've got the one from Opinel, and a few other places. And for some reason, I just have not done proper reviews of them. So I will have to do that and let you know what I think about the various mushroom knives, and I will do that in the future, including these. But for right now, the star of the show here is the Mushroom Hunter Knife 2 by Rough Ryder. And it's as good as it looks. It really is. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.